Life, sweet life, sweet life, sweet life. Hi guys, and welcome back. So today we're going to be making this Minnie Mouse two-tone breakable heart, which I thought was really cute. I wanted to share with you guys. So instead of the microwave, we're going to use the over the stove boiler method, in which you place a bowl over a pot of boiling water. Make sure the water is not touching your bowl, and you melt the chocolate that way. I didn't add any additional oil to it, and you'll see it just melted down perfectly. So I did that for both the brown and the red chocolate. So now we're going to get started. Okay, guys, so like I said, this is going to be a two-tone heart, means that the top of the heart is going to be brown and the bottom is going to be red because we're doing a Minnie Mouse theme. So as you'll see, I'm going to try my best to do half of the heart in chocolate, in the dark chocolate. So I'm just going to cover up that layer. We can't do the step where you actually swirl it around because we don't want it to go into the bottom of the heart. We want to keep it in the top half of the heart. And if any additional chocolate goes into the bottom half, I'll just clean it out with a napkin because we don't want that to stay, because it'll actually mess up the design. We want to try to get the design as clean as possible, and you can try as possible. After I actually did this, I thought that it probably would have been better if I did it in like a piping bag, because I could have did the line exactly straight, but it did come out well this way. So you can do this way as well. So you do see me cleaning out the excess chocolate that got into the bottom of the mold. Okay, and so we're actually going to put this into the fridge so the brown chocolate can harden up before we start with the red chocolate, just because we don't want to get like a marble design. We want a straight line, and you guys can use whatever method you want to get your line straighter than mine. My line is not perfectly straight, but it worked. So now we're gonna go in with the red chocolate and just do the same thing. Because the brown chocolate is already hardened, you don't have to be as careful. So I'm just going up with a spoon with the red chocolate and just making sure to fill in the rest of the heart at this step. And like I told you guys in my previous breakable heart video, make sure you go completely up the sides. We want to make sure we get those sides completely coated. We're actually going to go in with another layer after this, but the first layer we have to try to get as straight as possible, just because we want the design to show up on the outside. But now that it's out the fridge and we're going to go back in with the second layer, we're going to reinforce those sides really well. Because if you watch my first breakable heart video, you'll see we had like a little part that was weak around the side. So we're going to make sure that we really reinforce the sides on this one, because we don't want any weak sides. So I'm just using my spoon, and the chocolate is thicker this time too. Last time I melted it down with coconut oil. This time I didn't melt it down with anything. So the chocolate is a lot thicker. So I think it'll give us a better result around the edges. And I'm just going in with my spoon and making sure to really reinforce those sides. And then now that it's an inside layer and you won't see the colors, I'm going to make sure I go over the line between the brown and the red chocolate as well, just kind of reinforce, just in case we missed any spaces. We don't want any holes or anything. So I'm just going to go around, really reinforce those sides, really make sure we got really thick chocolate around the sides so it doesn't crack when we're taking it out. Okay, guys, so you see we've reinforced those sides. I'm very confident that they're going to be nice and thick, and we don't have to worry about it breaking when we're taking it out of the mold. So this is going to go into the fridge for about 20 minutes. So now that it's out, this is how it looks. And we are going to use a cake scraper to clean off the edges around the mold. We're just going to go all the way around and clean the edges, so when it does come out, it's going to have a nice clean edge. And this also will help you get it out of the mold, just because you don't have that extra flap over the edge that you have to worry about maybe breaking when you're removing it. So go around and clean it. Like I said, if you don't have a cake scraper, you can use a butter knife. That will be fine, but just be very careful. Go all the way around and clean off the sides before we actually get ready to take it out. Okay, guys, you see our edges are nice and clean. We're just going to move that excess chocolate that we scraped out of the way before we move on. So now, this is the part you've been waiting for. So to get it out of the mold, we're going to slowly go around and remove the mold from the chocolate. We're going to go all the way around, and as you're removing the mold from the chocolate, you will kind of hear almost like air. It's almost like a suction sound. You'll hear like air getting into the mold. So just be careful. Go all the way around, all the way around. And as you pull back a little bit more, it'll move. It'll pull away from the mold a little bit more. Just be a little patient with it and just keep going around. And see, I tried to move it out, but it wasn't ready to come out. So now I just flipped it over and I was able to pull back my mold, and voila, perfect. We didn't have any cracking at all. Our sides were nice and thick, and now we're ready to move on. Perfect, guys. Okay, guys, so now we're going to move on to making the Minnie Mouse bow. I don't actually have a Minnie Mouse cutter or mold, so what I did was printed this bow out, and I just cut it out on paper, and I'm just going to use it as a stencil. So I'm just rolling out some red fondant, and I'm going to use my X-Acto knife to actually cut around the bow to get that shape. So that's what you'll see me doing here. And this is how our bow came out. Perfect, nice and easy. You can do this with any shape. If you don't have a cutter or a mold for it, you can cut out the shape in paper and just trace it in fondant. I do it all the time. So now we're going to use some white fondant, and we're just going to make the polka dots for both the bow and for the bottom of the heart. So for the larger polka dots, we're just going to use one of my piping tips. We're going to use the bottom of it to create the larger polka dots. And as you can see, I'm just creating those little circles with the piping tip. And then for the smaller polka dots at the top, we're going to use a bubble straw. These are the straws I actually use to support my cakes when I do my two-tier cakes, but I always keep the scraps when I trim them off the sides of the cake. I always keep the scraps because I use them for polka dots a lot. So now our heart is out of the fridge. It actually was in the fridge while we were making the bow and the polka dots. Just because when you're working with it, you want it to be nice and cold because it's chocolate. So now I'm going to use one of my styling tools, and I'm going to actually do the details for the heart. So you'll see me just copying the details from the picture that I printed out. And I'm just going to do the extra little lines in the bow to get the extra Minnie Mouse details. And that's how the bow turned out, nice and cute. That was easy. So now we're going to use piping gel to actually stick the polka dots and the bow to the actual heart. I like to use piping gel. Piping gel is like a mix of sugar, cornstarch. I believe it's like an edible glue basically, and I use it for a lot of different things when I'm decorating cakes and treats, just because it dries clear and hard and it doesn't have any taste or anything, and it's very easy to work with. So that's what I'm going to be using to stick the extra details to both the bow and the heart. Okay, so now we have the box. This is actually a 10 by 10 box that we're using. I will put a link below for you to find these boxes. And I put some of the shredded paper, like Easter grass type stuff in the bottom. So I actually like to assemble and decorate my heart in the box. I don't like to decorate it and then move it, just because it's so fragile. So this is some candy, fruit snacks, and things that I'm going to actually put in the heart. So I always put the biggest item down first, which is the goldfish. And I kind of create like a little pile. I kind of know the size of these hearts because I've did so many of them now. So I kind of know what can fit in them. So we're going to put some fruit snacks, a lollipop, and we're going to create like a little pile. I'm actually going to move some of the grass out of the way so it can be a little bit more flat. And I also have some little 6-lit candies. So that's what's going to be her surprise when she actually opens it. And then we're going to place the heart down on top of that. Just make sure it's all covered. And there we have it. Okay, so I'm actually gonna put the other little items. I actually probably should have decorated the heart first before I put these little things in there, but I was just showing you guys how to put the box together. I got those little heart shades and that little mini bubblegum machine, both from Dollar Tree, guys. They have the cutest little things. You can add anything in these boxes, but I wanted it to be kind of themed. So she loves Minnie Mouse, so I thought the little heart glasses would be cute. And then she actually wanted a bubblegum machine for Christmas, so I found this little mini one and put it in there. So it just ended up being the perfect little gift set. So like I said, I'm just putting those polka dots on with piping gel. That's what you see me doing now. And it is okay. You do see me using fondant details to decorate this, but you can't actually put too much fondant. Like, let's say you wanted to do the brown heart and do the red part in fondant, that wouldn't actually work because you actually want to be able to break it. So if you put too much fondant or too many big pieces of fondant, you won't actually be able to break it. So you want to put just small fondant details, because you have to remember they have to break it. They can break chocolate, but they can't break fondant. So now I'm just taking some little Valentine's Day ribbon I had that has some little red hearts on it, and I'm going to put a bow on the little hammer and just place that in there. I also had put some little red and white chocolates in there, and this is how it came out. Adorable. Those her name, Autumn, is actually in little gold stickers that I actually got from the dollar store as well. I'll let her know that they aren't edible since I'll be there, but this is how it turned out, guys. Thank you so much for watching. Bye.